Well, Craig, welcome to the first episode of the two-player co-op.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Two-player co-op podcast. Sorry, I had an echo going on right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that or not.
No, I can't hear the echo at all. I mean, unless like you have the stream running in your background. Volume.
I did.
Were you bad like that?
Yeah, I was bad with like that. I just wanted to make sure we were live and everything was going okay. I guess for those who want to know what this is going to be about, just video games, right? Just mostly video games, right?
Mostly video games. We might even talk about political things and
No.
touch hard topics like abortion.
Maybe. If we're up to it, we'll touch on those topics. So yeah, we'll talk about video games, sort of what's current, what's happening, and what we're playing, because I know everybody's interested in what we're playing and our opinions on that. And also, I think what we'll do also is, for the most time, maybe not every night, but I think we'll start streaming games right after our casts. Some variation of both of us playing a game, or one of us playing a game, all the other comments. Yeah, Craig, does that sound good to
definitely.
you? I think we have a few games lined up for the foreseeable future. But yeah, we're just going to talk about some stuff that has happened this week. Why don't we talk about what you've been playing a little bit here, Craig? Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, man. I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. That game is really fun. It just barely came out. They had their early launch on Saturday. I guess at 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 3 o'clock a.m. for us. But I didn't play that early. I went to bed like normal people and played it later on. But the game is really fun. For those of you who played version 1.0 of Final Fantasy XIV, you know how bad that game was. I mean, it looked good, and like the ideas were kind of weird, and like you're like thinking to yourself, okay, this is all right. I can roll with this, because what they had originally is they had it to where your class was built upon what weapon you're using. So if you're using a sword, you were a gladiator. If you were having a spear, you were a lancer. If you had a staff,
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of similar, I guess, to I don't want to say that this game does it for sure, but I think what game is it that does it? It's the I can't think of the game right now. It's another MMO game that does it as well.
It's over my head then.
Yeah, and like it's kind of it's like a cool idea. It's and like definitely they've made it a lot better in what I guess Realm Reborn. But you know, it just the game itself was hard to play. It was pretty. It reminded me of Final Fantasy XI a lot, and not as good at all, because 11 I played a lot during the summertime when it originally came out, and I played actually as a thief ninja and got up to like level 57, I think, which is pretty high. The level cap I think now in that game is like in the 80s. It's crazy, and that game is really hard to play because it's all like PvE based, and you have to level up with a party. You can't do it solo, which people are so used to now because of WoW and other MMOs like that. But when 14 came out, it was just really slow and gimmicky, and like the system that I guess Japanese MMOs are mostly used are menu based. They're not like as like mouse functioning. Like when you play WoW, it's like you're using your mouse all the time. But when you're playing Final Fantasy 14 and 11, you're just like using your keyboard. You're going through different menus and everything like that. And for like Americans, it's kind of hard to get used to and play that. So when they made Final Fantasy XIV, like if you watch people play it, it's really fluid. It's really very pretty. It's gorgeous. It's probably one of the best looking MMOs. You know, Terra Online looked really good. It's a Korean MMO. But this game looks amazing. The animations by all the characters is great. The effects that your spells have and your abilities, it's really cool and flashy. It's very Final Fantasy. Very cool. And what they did is they still kept it to where like your weapon is based upon what class you are, but they now have it to where you can be actual jobs that are in a traditional Final Fantasy, like the Paladin, the Dragoon, the Black Mage, White Mage, Summoner, Scholar, and Bard. And
is that based off of your weapon, or is it you get to pick your class Like you were saying, it was based off of your weapon earlier, right?
Yeah, it's still based off your weapon, even with those classes. Because like when you play as a paladin, you use a one-handed sword and a shield, and that's the one thing that is kind of I don't really like too much is that your character is solely using one weapon, whereas like in WoW, you'll find like a paladin will not only use a one-handed weapon, but he can use like two-handers or just different weapons. So it's kind of like it's all right. It's not that big of a deal to me because I really don't care. But I can imagine they'll figure out how to do more things later on because the Marauder he just uses a two-handed axe right now. He's basically just like the classic warrior in the Final Fantasy realm. But they've been talking about how they're going to do like other classes like the thief, the samurai, and the ninja. I'm excited that they'll do the thief because that's like my favorite class.
That's your jam.
That's my jam. And I'll say I do a red mage, and I'm all over that.
You always play mages or some crazy cyberpunk stuff in D&D or Shadowrun.
Yeah, I know.
Never a thief.
Thieves are fun. I don't know.
So with Final Fantasy XIV, MMO, and I know for me, massively multiplayer online games have definitely fallen by the wayside for myself. I think the last one I played, that I attempted to play was Knights of the Old Republic. Couldn't get that into it, even though it had a strong single player aspect. The first thing I think of when I hear MMO game is if it's free to play. Because in my mind, I think, oh, it's free to play. I can just try it out and see if I like it and go from there. And Final Fantasy XIV is subscription-based, is that right?
Yeah, it's subscription-based.
Now, is it subscription-based as well as you have to do a upfront purchase of the game itself?
Yeah, it is. And, the game itself, I think it's $29.99.
So that's not terrible.
Not terrible at all. I mean, I think that's how MMOs are starting to price themselves, like when they initially come out. Just because they know, like, it's not like... I think when WoW originally came out, it was like $50. And even, like, other games are $50 as well. But I think people have started to realize, like, we're already... Like, when it comes to subscription-based games, we know we're already charging them an extra $15 or whatever month. I think, actually, Final Fantasy XIV, they did something interesting where they have it to where the subscription is at different tiers. Let me hurry up and pull it up real fast.
So sort of like, I know DC Universe was like that, where you'd have more mail slots, more access to items, you could send more items. Is it sort of like that as far as the tiers go?
Yeah, because like they have it to where you can either have the $9.99 subscription, I think, and then like you basically have like one character on a server, or like you can only play on one server. And let's see here. So here's okay. So here it is. It's $12.99. Max characters per server is 1, and max characters you can create in general are 8. And then if you do the standard, which is like you can, depending on the length, like if you do like 30 days, it's $14.99, which is the staple when it comes to subscription-based MMOs. And then like if you go like 90 or 180 days, like it lowers down a lot. Like 90 is 13, and then 180 is $12.99. But you have 8 characters per server and a max of 40. And the cool thing that they did is, so when Final Fantasy XIV, the original version came out, they basically, for people who stuck around to play, who like played the game until like they closed the game, and just said, "Hey, we're gonna relaunch a new game for you guys who kept playing through the game. We're gonna give you more of an incentive for picking up the game." They're able to play the game for free for like a month after it came out, and then I think their subscription for like actually being a part of the game, they're grandfathered into like a better system where they can create as many characters that they want on multiple servers. I think the max you can create on is 8 anyway, but I think they charge for them, it's like $9.99, which is really cool. So it like that good guy Square Enix helping those who actually like played the awful game to actually want to play the game.
Good guy Square Enix. So if you were going to convince me to play a subscription-based MMO, how would you do it, man? Because I I mean, I want, I have a bunch of friends, you, Scott, a bunch of people online that are just like, man, this is a really great game. I've been hearing it's a fantastic game, especially to how it used to be. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, not only do I have to buy the game, but I have to subscribe as well. I mean, how would you convince me to even, enter that?
Oh gosh, it depends on who you are and like how you are as a gamer. Because like for me, like I hate free to play games. I'm gonna be honest. Like the only one that I do play, our screen just went black.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna pull up a video of it, but keep talking.
Oh, okay, cool. Like I just don't really like subscription based like free to play games because like games like League of Legends, and like all the other games that have come out. Like I just don't feel like the quality is there because for like subscription based games it feels like when they have a subscription like you're able to like push out more content to actually get people to want to play the game. And like honestly I have no problem forking the extra $9 or $14 a month to help a game server because like it's hard to maintain servers, man. You have like that money has to go somewhere. And like I don't like the idea when it comes to free to play games. They have like all these different things where like if you pay like $5, you get like 800 Bazinga dollars towards buying special like abilities or like a new skin or something like that. Or even sometimes they'll do it to where like it enhances like your gameplay, your character, or like your abilities, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the what Blizzard does with like as far as like you can actually purchase like I don't know why you would, but mounts and different pets and stuff like that. Like that's okay. Like if people want to spend their money on virtual items like that, that's weird. But I don't like the idea of playing a game that some kid could grab his mom's wallet and buy like $20 worth of, like I said, Bazinga dollars and put it towards like either the in-game currency or skins or something like that. Like Rift Online went free to play, and like I remember when TJ, I think you actually played that with us.
I did when it released, yeah.
When it released, and like that game was pretty cool for the first while, but now it's free to play. And I actually picked it up, and like I just don't like the feeling of a free-to-play game. I guess I like the idea of paying.
You feel like they have to maybe cut corners a little bit, whereas a full purchase game with subscription, they don't have to cut corners. They're bringing you all the content, and they're going to give it to you straight up, sort of like World of Warcraft does. I mean, as much as you might dog on World of Warcraft, I mean, at least you don't cut corners, and I don't think you feel like they do. I think in free-to-play games, you definitely do feel like they cut corners.
I no problem against WoW. It's just I'm moving.
Not necessarily you, but anybody out there,
Yeah. Yeah. And like TJ is saying, like some free play games out there don't have server problems. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like that the money that they get from subscriptions goes towards developing the game, improving the game, and giving you more content, because that's like the best thing about MMOs is like there's always new content later on that the game developers are creating, like whether it's an expansion or another patch where it's like, oh, it's a new dungeon or a new raid. I don't really like. I know Rift does that, but it takes them a really long time to do stuff like that. And some people like free to play games, and like you're more than welcome to like those games. And like my opinion, you probably won't like it at all. I just don't like free-to-play games for just that reason alone.
I totally get it. I mean, it's the difference between an easy access point for people like me who aren't that into MMO games, or if you are and you feel like you want a quality product, you want quality time, and you want to feel like your money and your time is well spent, then having a subscription plan that is going to supporting the servers and supporting content that keeps being updated. I mean, it's really pick your type of game, I mean,
it really is. I mean, pick your poison. Do you want to play a game where you have to pay an extra $15, but the game gets updated, and you don't have to worry about like in-game currency where you have to buy stuff, or do you like to play a free game with your friends and not have to worry about paying for it, but you have to worry about people are buying crap, and there's always that feeling like
pay to win.
Yeah,
feeling
I could pay an extra like $5 just to get this cool skin, which is what League of Legends does, and they're very successful.
League of Legends works, man.
It works for them. It just doesn't work for me.
All right, all right. Let's move on to a big development that actually happened today. Nintendo 2DS. For though, let me get a picture up here really quickly. See if I can get a picture. Hopefully, it doesn't go black. I always go black.
Avoid the blackness. Don't go towards the black.
It's just every time I do a window capture, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do that. But will I ever get it up here? Whoop, there it is. That is...
There it is.
There it is.
There's the guy.
Yeah. So that's what the Nintendo 2DS looks like. They announced it today. It has an entry price of $129.99. U.S. dollars. Craig, what do you think? What do you think of the design? What do you think of the 2DS here?
Oh man, I haven't really thought about it too much, but I look at it and it looks like a Wii U pad. What I'm thinking, I wonder if what they're trying to do with that is to implement it into a way where it's you can use that with your Wii U. It's because when you play the Wii U, it only comes with one Wii pad.
It looks like a lot like the Wii U controller, doesn't it? That's my first impression of it.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're trying to implement a way where you can actually play the Nintendo 2DS or 3DS on your Wii U instead of having just one Wii pad. I mean, the design itself, it looks like a tablet. It's kind of weird. It has a home button and everything. I don't know. I like the price. I mean, the price is cool.
Price is right.
$130, which is for people who don't want to spend $200 on a portable console. They're able to spend $130. That's good. I mean, I can't disagree with that.
I mean, I honestly feel like the internet's I don't want to say blowing up, not like Ben Affleck blowing up, but
they're blowing up.
I feel like the reaction to the 2DS is a little bit overblown. I mean, yeah, it's weird it doesn't fold. That's not something they've done in a long time, close to a decade, I would say, since the DS first came out, which is a long time ago now if you think about it. I was in high school. I'm not in high school anymore. I'm not even close to being in high school anymore. At first you and I were both like, this is a joke. I mean, you linked this to me in Facebook chat, and I was like, I didn't even give it a second thought, because I was like, oh, Nintendo 2DS, very funny. Who would do that? That's not even clever. But then I actually clicked the link. I'm like, whoa, this is actually a thing that's happening? And the more I look at the design and the more I look at the price point, I think it's kind of smart. $130 as opposed to $200 for the 3DS XL. I think, is it $170 for the normal 3DS or 170?
Yeah, it's $174.
Or maybe $160.
Let me see.
I think it's $160 for the 3DS, and then I think it jumps and then up to $200 for the 3DS XL.
Yeah.
For those wondering, the 2DS shares the same specs as the 3DS itself. It has the same screen size as the normal 3DS, not the 3DS XL, and it actually has a sleep mode trigger in the bottom right that, since, in the 3DS and 3DS XL, you fold it down to put it in sleep mode. This actually has, since you can't fold it, it has a sleep mode. What I like about it is that it's on an incline, so when you put it down, it's sort of it sort of curves up. I don't... Actually, looking at design, I was like, that's weird, you can't fold it down. I don't know how I feel about that. But, dude, it's like a Game Boy. I mean, look at it. It's a Game Boy.
Yeah.
It's a wider Game Boy. What's wrong with that? I mean, I had Game Boys for years, man. I loved it. They didn't fold. It was no problem there for me. And the entry point, $130. I mean, you have 3 children. You all want to get them a 3DS, and they're all asking for a 3DS XL. Well, shoot, that's $600. Or you can get 3 of these for $380.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference there is staggering. And that's a lot of money.
Saving your parents money. Kinda.
I mean, and that's a $130. $390. So it's a $130 Pokemon machine that you can play all the Pokemons in DS and 3DS. You can play the new 3DS Pokemon game. Now, it does play DS games and it does play 3DS games. The only difference is the reason it says 2DS is you can't play it in 3D mode that the 3DS and the 3DS XL are known for.
And the more I think about it, it's really smart, because think about it. So the Nintendo 2DS comes out on October 22nd. What also comes out on
the same day on October 22nd? Pokemon X and Y. They knew They knew what they were doing. Come on.
Oh, sorry. Did I say the 22nd? I mean the 12th. Sorry.
October 12th. October 12th. Nintendo 2DS comes out along with Pokemon X and Y. So you're going to have parents and a lot of people who don't have a 3DS, but they're like $130. I could drop that easy. You know, you think of the difference between 200. And because if you don't have a 3DS, why would you go normal 3DS? I wouldn't. I would go XL. But if you're thinking, well, you know, this is like an entry-level handheld gaming. And now that the 3DS XL and Vita are the same price, they have to compete in another way, I feel like. They're like, well, if you don't want to spend the extra $70 for a Vita, here's the Nintendo 2DS. It's very small. It's very casual. Here you go. Plug it in. No stereoscopic 3D or gyroscopic 3D or whatever it is.
But here's a question for you, Trent. Do you even use the 3D?
I don't. I don't use the 3D on my 3DS. I hate it. Playing Ocarina of Time, freaking, I remember getting to the first boss, Goma, the Spider Queen, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like this all the time when I do boss fights. I'm like, oh god, dodging, right? There's no, you even tilt it like that, and it just blurs the whole screen. Mm-hmm. I'm like, nope, let's turn this off. Any action game, so I can just do my little thing like that. I mean, I don't like it at all. I don't like holding my portable gaming device exactly this far away from my face. It bothers the hell out of me.
I totally agree.
So, I mean, getting rid of that function, I mean, if it makes it cheaper, and I don't know if this, I mean, getting rid of the folding feature makes it cheaper either. They're like, well, shit, if we get rid of the 3D and make it just flat, we can save $70 here.
Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of like using like the like actual, like, I don't know how it'd be like more expensive, like the actual like folding mechanisms or plastic pieces.
I know.
Would be expensive, but it's probably like an extra like $3 for them. But yeah, they should have just done like a folding one. Like if they just did a folding 2DS, that would have been really cool.
Well, I mean, look at it for a second psychologically. Let's say that was turned off and it was on your coffee table, right? And you just saw it like that. You're like, all I have to do is pick it up and turn it on. There's no folding, and even though the folding open isn't a lot, I mean, it's just that one extra step, you know? Yeah. This seems inviting. It's just on your coffee table, like, I'm just going to pick it up and play. You know, what have you. I think it's a really smart idea. I have no use for it. Obviously, I have a 3DS XL, and like they said, it's just for the casual gamers anyway, get people into playing more DS and 3DS games, and you know,
that Pokemon.
Play the Pokemon. I think the name's going to be a little confusing. GameStop's going to have so many people asking them if the 2DS can play 3DS games because it's completely differently named. But I think it's going to work out for Nintendo, especially because they're going to have to compete with PS4, Xbox One, and Vita in the coming financial season, holiday season. Mm-hmm. So that'll be good for them because they don't have anything else.
Seriously. All they have is Pokemon. That's what's going to keep them afloat for the holiday season, because every kid's going to want Pokemon.
Yep.
And every adult.
Yeah. So true. But yeah, I mean, honestly, me personally, I think, it's not a bad idea. It's really not. So I would suggest some people to buy it, and, if it works for you, you get it. But there's the Nintendo 2DS, came out today, released today. Buy it with Pokemon X, and with that, it's cheaper than a 3DS XL. Think about it. Smart on their part.
Really smart. Mm-hmm.
There's a couple games on Steam that happened this week. First of all, Game Dev Tycoon. I think it comes out next Tuesday. I'm not sure. I got my Steam key emailed to me. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, and I guess I could look it up and stop being lazy. But basically what Game Dev Tycoon is, remember Roller Coaster Tycoon games, and it's sort of like build your own game development studio. If you ever play Game Dev Story on your mobile device, it's basically like that. And, it's not as flashy graphically as Game Dev Story. It's not as cutesy or whatever, but it's fun. I bought it. There was this whole story that went along with the Game Dev Tycoon where they had 2% of their sales were legitimate and 98% were pirated or something like that.
Right.
And it was really, really shitty for them, so I felt really bad. And I was like, well, damn, I guess I'll help them out. And so I bought one, and that was back then. I can't remember how much it was. I was just like, I'll buy it, I'll support them. Played it. It's really fun. It gets pretty challenging when you're managing your budget, especially when you upgrade your studio after you start building games. I think it's a lot more difficult than Game Dev Story, which both I would highly recommend. But it's releasing on Steam. Oh, it says right here, available August 29th. So it's going to release tomorrow. So let's see how topical we are, Craig. We're doing this right.
We're current. We are the current events of video games right now. There it is, right there.
There it is, right there. I'm gonna show you a little bit of the gameplay here. Now, you'll see him in the middle. You start in your garage like that. You name your games. You pick what topics they are. What genres they cover. What platform they're going to be on. And you just you go away. Hey, I want to be in a space game and I want to be an adventure game. And then, like I said, you'll start growing your company. Right there, that's where it gets really hard for me, when you have to start managing your own staff and you have to start managing, investing into engines and everything. It gets really fun though. I mean, for $8, I think it might be on sale. It's $10. It's going to be on sale. It's on sale right now for $8. It's worth.
That's awesome.
It's worth the purchase. It's a really fun game. It supports indie development games, which I'm a huge fan of. It's a lot like Game Dev Story, if you've played that.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more fanfare-ish for those who love video games a little bit more. As you can see there, we got a mocap station in the bottom right, and their R&D that they're doing. It's a really cool game. I highly suggest playing it. And I don't know, Craig, you like Game Dev Story, right?
Yeah, man. That game is really fun. I think it was you who told me to buy the game.
Oh yeah, I love Kairosoft games. I think they're so fun. I love simulation games.
Yeah.
Ever since my mom was SimCity on a floppy, like we're talking about a 3.5 floppy,
Gosh.
into an old computer, played the first SimCity. I was hooked. I love simulation games ever since that moment. So yeah, man, I highly suggest looking into that. Like I said, it comes out tomorrow. Also, something that happened this weekend, I don't know if you saw it, Craig, I don't know if you saw the email for it, but Humble Bundle, for those who aren't aware of what the Humble Bundle is, you want to give us a short summation of that?
Yeah, the Humble Bundle basically is it's basically like spotlighting a company or a set of games that when you purchase the game, like you either give like a very small amount, like $1 or whatever, and you get a certain amount of games or music or even books sometimes, depending on what the Humble Bundle is actually spotlighting. Like right now, it's spotlighting comedy right now. And so they have like Louis C.K., Patrice O'Neill, or whatever, Jim Norton, and a couple other different comedians. And basically the money that you put into gets funded into a charity, as well as like you can decide whether it goes to the artist or a Humble Bundle tip where you can actually give it to the people who created the Humble Bundle. It's a very cool idea. It's smart, and like it's kind of like on the realm of like Kickstarter, where it's crowdfunding, where you can put how much money you want to put towards a project because you like this thing, and like for right now, like all these things are finished products, so it will be like, oh man, all these games are great. And if I like, sometimes they'll do where like if you hit a certain tier, like $13, you get a couple other games, and they'll throw that in. Like a couple weeks ago, they did the Origin Humble Bundle where they had like Dead Space 2,
bunch of Origin
Dead Space
games,
3,
which is EA,
yeah,
basically EA games. I mean, basically, it's sort of like the Kickstarter. It's sort of to gauge interest in games that have been out for a while, typically, or indie games. I mean, they'll feature a lot of indie games, but like you said, EA games will get up there. I remember THQ games were up there with Saints Row the Third and Darksiders and everything. So if you watch out, if you subscribe, they'll have games that are really popular, but then you have access to like $3, $5. I mean, if you spend $5, you get this huge bundle. They add games to it as the days go on. They usually last about 2 weeks. And like Craig was saying, right now they're focusing on comedy. So they're sort of broadening their horizons as far as games. Usually it's just games. Sometimes it's book bundles. But now they're doing comedy, which I thought was really, really cool, because Louis C.K. has always been about bypassing the middleman and maybe not making as much money as he could, but he gets it out to more people that he wants, and he has more control over it. And that's sort of what the Humble Bundle is about, to have more control over it and to get it out to the people and then directly support the people who make the game and Humble Bundle too, because like you were saying, servers are expensive.
Yeah.
There is another game that I've talked about on our old podcast on the AutoSystem.com. It was a while ago when it was a web-based game, and actually now it was greenlit today, I read. And this is what, let's see if I can pull it up here. It's called Reprisal. I don't know if people want to look it up or anything. But basically, it's like a top-down God game in the vein of Populous or ActRaiser. I don't know if you've ever played ActRaiser, Craig. It was a pretty popular game.
Dude, that looks sick.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It looks really good, man. It's a really cool game. I'll try to get a video up again. It's sort of being not cooperative, of course, but basically, like I said, what it is it's a top-down perspective. You play God. You're God basically, and you just help out your cities. It starts off with tutorial modes. I don't know if you remember Black and White. It's sort of like that as well.
I remember that.
Yeah, I love that game, and I'm actually going to pull up the trailer right here, right now. Maybe I actually like games. I love the art style. Very pixelated. I know you love that art style as well too, Craig. You'll pick maps. You'll have objectives on each one. Like Black and White, you'll have different powers that you need to utilize to accomplish different sets of goals. In this, you'll have people walking around. Very pixelated art. I'm a huge sucker for pixelated art, as you can see from our logo.
Yeah.
It'll say guide your people. You got to guide them to certain points, and just sort of like what's another game like this? Like I said, in the vein of those.
For sure.
ActRaiser, right? I mean, ActRaiser had that whole platforming side to it, where you actually controlled like a god-ish hero or your hero, as it were. But this is like it's ActRaiser without the hero platforming part of it, and it looks super fun. I mean, what do you think of that, Craig?
I think it looks great. I mean, the art style is very fun. Like, it's definitely going like you said, that art style where it's pixelated. It's very cool. It just runs really smooth and looks very crisp. It's not like Nintendo pixelated where it's 8-bit and looks kind of clunky, but it looks very fluid, very like Fez pixel art.
Yeah.
If you played that game, you know how great that game engine with pixels looks, and it's just amazing. Like, you can be like, oh my gosh, like you can summon volcanoes, lightning storms, and tornadoes. Look how cool that is. The guy just getting summoned up and everything.
It is out for PC and Mac to download. They've gone free to play. It used to be like $5, and I think they just went free to play to get it out to more people. And now it's being greenlit on Steam, and I'm sure it'll go back to being $5 so that they can hopefully make some money on that. And I'm all for, game companies making money. If there's one thing that I don't like to pirate, it's video games, especially ones made by indie developers.
I agree.
It's another game that's been on my radar, sort of. I've really liked the browser version, so I'm definitely going to buy the Steam version. I'm all about, adding to my Steam library, as you know.
To never play again.
Those 200-something games just sitting there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's, I'm not proud of it. But someday you and I are going to work through it on this cast.
Yeah, we're going to muscle through every single one of those games and be like, why'd you buy, like you said, Fable 3 dog costumes?
I was just drunk. Bad choices were made, Craig, okay? Bad choices. So, and that's sort of what we want to do here. Focus on some games that maybe not are as well known, because we see games on the recently released list. These are not going to be on there. So yeah, those are a couple cool games to look at. One little thing I'd like to touch on that is a big game that is coming out next week and is on everybody's release date. Diablo 3, 360 and PS3.
Oh shit.
Craig, thoughts? Go. What do you think?
Oh,
I know, because you played a lot of Diablo 3 on the PC, is that correct?
I did play a lot of Diablo 3 on the PC. And, I think it's cool. I think it's really smart and fun because, Blizzard hasn't gone to the consoles in a really long time. The only game that I remember from them playing, creating a console was, the Lost Viking games. And those games were great on the Super Nintendo.
Hey, Superman platformer fighter, you remember that? The Death and Return of Superman was made by Blizzard.
I didn't play that game, but yeah, they did make that
And
game.
Justice League Task Force, the 2D fighting game from Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
But
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're doing it because it looks cool. Like like the best thing about Diablo 3 or Diablo 2 in general is just getting with your buddies and doing a LAN party. And this allows you to have a LAN party but play on one console. And the way the game functions, like you can actually move your character, because like a lot of those fights in Diablo 3, like they were okay on the mouse and keyboard, but it's definitely going to be, I think, a lot better with an actual controller. And it would be interesting if what they did later is implemented a way where you can actually plug in your 360 controller to your PC tower and actually use that to play as if you're like on the PS3 or the Xbox 360.
Yeah, because they've added a lot of new implementations, haven't they? Like quick dodging.
Yeah, they added quick dodging.
And here the problem with Diablo 3 with me, I played it too. Diablo 2 was a game that for me, a whole summers were devoted to. I mean,
so many summers.
Getting those runes, bell runs, the best of times for me. Diablo 3, I got to level 60, and the magic wasn't there anymore for me, man. Which is sad. I hate to say that, but it's true. I know that a lot of my friends be like, "You're so detached." I don't know what's wrong with you, Trent, because they played the hell out of it, man. And then you get to level 60, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the other leveling system that they implemented not long after the release?
I believe.
Yeah, the Paragon leveling, which I didn't even touch. I stopped playing the game before Paragon leveling was implemented, so that tells you how quick I got out of the game. And I'm looking for a reason, because Diablo is one of my favorite series, if not for gameplay, but for lore. I love the lore of the Diablo series. Diablo 1 and 2 were just... The first Diablo game captured my heart.
Oh, yeah.
The second Diablo game just, extrapolated on that and made it that much bigger, and Diablo 3 just sort of lost me, which makes me sad, man. It really does. But this might change it. It's because it might go a little more casual. Because you know what I'm saying? Like you just, I'll just put my controller in my hand, and that, part of me dies when I say that. But it really would be a benefit to Diablo 3 to go more casual, especially with the auction house sort of killing the PC version.
Totally killed it.
Which is, I'm sure, sort of underselling the point there. But do we know if the auction house is on console versions? I don't think it is it?
I don't know. Let me check real fast. But the cool thing about the console version of Diablo 3 is that your loot that you acquire throughout the game, like if you're playing with 4 buddies, like the loot that you can get...
Which you could do on the same screen.
Yeah, it's like on the same screen. So like you have that like Diablo 2 mentality. It's like, oh, I gotta pick up all the gold before my friend gets it. And like, oh, you bastard, you pick up the sword. It's just like... I love that kind of stuff.
Did they bring that back in Diablo 3 for everybody on the same screen?
Well, what they did on the PC is like what you get what
it's different for each person's screen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have your own loot. So a unique monster drops an item, and it's unique for every person. So if you think about that, each person is getting their own loot, which means if you have a 4-person party, that means 4 times the loot, and 4 times the chances for a good drop. Whereas in Diablo 2, it was that one drop. And there's something magical about that. It sounds a lot more grindy, which I hate ordinarily, but in Diablo 2 it's just like you're all together, you're fighting this big monster for this one drop, and when it does drop and you get what you want, it's just this amazing feeling. Whereas I feel like the auction house totally ruined that. It's like, well, I'm just gonna buy the item that I've always wanted.
And like TJ's saying in the chat right now, he's saying that there's only trading and no auction house, which, like, if you remember from Diablo 2, like, you could only trade with other players. And in a way, it's more of an incentive to play with other people. Because that's
exactly,
cool. Like,
exactly.
you're able to be like, oh, what do you have? What kind of items do you have? And, like, they could, like, show you what like, you can expect them and see what they have and what you're willing to trade for them, like gold or a different item, which is really cool. I mean, it just allows other people to actually, like, want to play with each other rather than just play by yourself to get the best item and then sell it on for real money. I agree, and that gives more people incentive to build better characters instead of just dealing. Well, this will be good enough. I'll sell the real good items to the people who want to pay the money for it. And it got ridiculous, like selling items just because it had perfect stats. Yeah. Even
though it may not have been necessarily good, but it was like a perfect roll, which means it's rare. Which I understand in real life. If you have like a rare misprinting of a comic or something, that'll that'll up its value. But it just doesn't make sense to me in digital goods, and it ruined the magic. So as TJ is saying in chat, your fucking cat.
I'm trying not to look at her.
No auction house makes me want to play it. Even it makes me want to return to the game just because of that and start from square one. A new character, new everything on the consoles because there's no auction house. And it makes me even more excited. Just recall all of our player profiles onto one box, and we play on the same screen, which sounds so much fun to me. I think this is where they should have been from the beginning, and I think this is what the future for Diablo 3 will be, especially for me. You can call me a casual gamer or call me what you want. I think it's going to be a lot better for somebody who like me, lost the magic with the game and what Diablo 2 had to offer, but Diablo 3 didn't. Maybe that will change on the console.
I think it's cool because like it brings back those memories of high school or middle school when during the summertime, like, oh, hey everybody, let's hook up all our casual fag indeed. Let's hook up all our Xboxes and play Halo 2. I mean, like TJ's always been very strong about this. Like Halo 2 is like the pinnacle of like multiplayer gaming, and like I'm not a fan of Halo or like first-person shooters in general, but I can't disagree with that statement at all because Halo 2 is definitely so many good memories of like going with my friend's house and hooking up like 5 Xboxes or 4 or whatever just to play a game. And like this is bringing back those memories of just like calling your friends up to like, hey, let's hang out, let's play some Diablo 3 and like drink a couple of brewskis. And I don't know, like I don't drink beer, so like that's like a weird statement for me to even say in general. But I guess for me it's like, let's drink a couple of Mountain Dews or whatever and just hang out. But I like it. I think it's cool, and I think it'll be very successful. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts on it.
I totally agree. It comes out next week on the 3rd, right? I believe.
Yeah, it comes
on
out
the 3rd. Yeah, next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking about it now, since we'll cast next Wednesday as well. I really want to get it. I might get it on the paycheck. That paycheck. So we'll see. Are you going to get it, Craig? You going to buy it?
I have so many games to play.
I know, me too. That's why I'm kind of like on the edge there. But depending on who ends up buying, and by that I mean my friends, if they end up buying it, I'll probably end up buying it too. I can't resist.
Like I think we should just like get together and just play the game and just.
I know.
Have fun,
even if one person plays it, if we get together, it'll be that much more incentive to just come together, hang out, and play Diablo 3, which is exactly what I want to do.
Speaking of upcoming games, there's a game that what we need to do, Trent, is play. And by play, I mean we play at like 12 o'clock at night play. There's a game coming out, which is kind of known as being really scary, but there's a new part of it, an expansion or another story called Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs. Comes out September 10th, 2013.
Maybe we can do a midnight cast of that. September 10th?
Yeah, September 10th. But maybe we could do do like the weekends, because like I have
weekend
school and
after.
everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're adults.
We're adults. We have responsibilities.
We do. Why don't we might do it the Friday night. And we can do it over Skype. I mean, there'd be nothing wrong with that, man. Let's do it. I'll turn off all the lights. No webcam. Well, maybe webcam. You want to see my scared face?
I want to be there with you when we play that game.
Okay, then come on over. We'll just... I know that, we have a bunch of nopes in the chat right now.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
There's already...
Because Amnesia...
3.5 nopes, I would say.
That is 3.5 nopes, by my estimation as well. I think that's all we have for this week. Is that right, Craig? Do you have anything else you want to...
Yeah, do you want to talk about some games you've been playing recently or anything like that, or beaten?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I have been trying my ass off to beat Spelunky. I've been trying... I get into Olmec, and he kicks my ass every time.
Gosh, I can't...
I can't beat him. Well, I mean, I beat him once on the Xbox Live Arcade version. And for those who don't know, and while I talk about it, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a Spelunky video. Craig, have you beaten Olmec yet?
I've gotten really close, and here's how I play Spelunky.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. I'm very... I don't take any risks. I play balls to the wall hard.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do.
I see a merchant, I kill him. Like that's how
that is so
how
wrong.
I play. So like I like the farthest I've ever gone is I almost got to the City of Gold, almost got there, but shopkeeper managed to hit me into a spike. So
Gosh, those shopkeepers, dude, they ruined my life, man.
I had such a good run going. It was awful.
And we're gonna play the gameplay trailer right here. The thing with Spelunky is this game, I don't know why, it's addicting. Is it not, Craig?
Oh, I mean, it's a roguelike game where like it's different every time.
Yeah, it's exactly every dungeon. Every time you play it spawns a different dungeon. Now, what you're seeing right here is the original PC version that was free. They've since changed it, which, I mean, the graphics, all the additions for gameplay and new areas that they've added is phenomenal. What happens is you're a spelunker, as you can see there, and you go down into the caves, and you start in the mines, you go to the jungle, you go to the ice caves, and you go to the temple, and you have to get there all in one run. You have gold, you have bombs, and you have ropes, and it makes it so tactical to play. And it's so fun every single time. I don't feel like it's repetitive ever. I just feel like, well, I failed. It's my fault. Let me start again, and then go from square one. And you can get shortcuts to where you can just spawn in the jungle, or you can spawn in the ice caves, or spawn in the temple. I've never gotten to hell. I've never gotten to the City of Gold. Those are my goals. And I've never killed the alien, the alien master.
I know, and like
I've gotten so close, so close.
There's so many cool items in the game, and the thing that like I love about it, like I just got the Vita version, which allows me to play on the go, which makes it even more addicting.
And like it's saying right there, look at that. You can do up to 4-player adventure multiplayer, or 4-player deathmatch, which is a whole new type of game. As you can see right here, they're doing deathmatch. It's so ridiculous. You can have a match like there, just last like 6 seconds, and it'll be over. Am I right, Craig, or am I right?
Yeah, like you, Reggie, Eric, and I, like
during Comic-Con.
Spelunky is tradition. We weren't able to do it this year because of our hotel was stupid and didn't allow us to do it. But the multiplayer is addicting and fun, and like you just want to keep going and going. And that's what's so great about Spelunky. It's like you said, it's the addiction towards the game is very fun, but it's not like Civilization 5 addicted, where like, oh, just one more turn. Like you hit a point, you're like, okay, I gotta go to bed, or like I gotta play a different game, and you're like when you're done playing the game, you're done, but you're always wanting to go back and play it though. It's cool. It's in these 5 to 15 minute bursts, depending on how well you do. And when you feel like you're doing well, it's the best feeling in the world, and then it can get taken away like that. You land on some spikes, and no matter how many hearts you have, gone. 10 hearts, you're done. Spikes will kill it. And, there's all these secrets in the game. I don't want to ruin too much, but there's always new things to find. The achievements make it so that you'll keep on coming back. I think there's an achievement for playing 1,000 times in adventure mode, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there is.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, gosh. I'm going to have so much fun with this game. There's up to, I think, 16 new characters that you can unlock, which is really fun. Just, you find them during playing adventure mode. There's all kinds of different achievements that for the really hardcore people, which I'll make it there one day, like getting throughout the entire game and beating it with no shortcuts, with no treasure. I don't know how I'm going to do that, Craig, but I'm going to do it someday.
Iron Man achievement,
Man achievement, yeah, I'll do it.
The hardest one I can see people like never doing is the good teamwork, where you complete the game with at least
no shortcuts, with at least 2 players alive. Yeah.
And like
I don't know how.
Right now you're gonna do that.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna stream that someday when you come over.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
I just recently, like I said, I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, and then I just beat Persona 4 on the Vita.
Oh, nice, the golden version, right?
Yeah, that game is so good. It's so good. Like, people give a lot of JRPGs a lot of guff for being linear, but that game is far from linear. And like, I recommend
especially dialogue-wise, right?
Yeah, it's so good. Like, you get to choose your dialogue, and there's different endings depending on what you do, and like the twist in the game is so good. I was just blown away when I found out the twist. I literally had to stop playing and walk away, and just because you don't see it coming. It's
That
so
Bioshock
good.
Infinite feel.
Yeah, it's really good. Like if you love JRPGs, hell, not even just JRPGs, but RPGs in
Just
general.
games, right?
Yeah, it's so good. The voice acting is superb. The animation's great. It's a cult. The reason why the Persona series has such a cult following is because of Persona 4. It's so good. I like if you buy a Vita just to buy a Persona 4, that is like one of the best reasons alone to buy one. Seriously.
Which is why we'll get along, because we're the only two people in Salt Pop that like Japanese RPGs.
So true.
So you can talk to me about it, Craig, and I'll listen to you, and I'll be interested all day, man.
Yes.
No problem. You can finally just get it out there. Your Final Fantasy talk, your Persona talk. I'll listen to you, man. I'm here for you.
It's so good, and like that game is just awesome. And then like I've been playing Tales of Xillia.
I heard
and
that's
that
really
game
good.
Is really good. Like it is very classic JRPG. But what's cool is what they do is like when you're playing the game, they have dialogue where you can like when the characters are interacting with one another. And what they did previously, the Tales series, they didn't have the actual voice acting, except the Japanese version they did. But in the English version, and Tales of Xillia, they actually have it to where you have voice acting. And the voice acting is very well done. They like those guys know what they're doing. The gameplay is fun. It's all around a great game, and it takes around like 40 to 50 hours to play. So if you got time and like me, it takes you like
With any
2
Japanese
years.
RPG,
Yeah.
you're gonna need time.
Yeah, it's worth playing, and the system's very fun. The leveling, I guess, the ability systems kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy X with the
Spirit grid.
system.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that, and it's very simple to play, and it's very hard at the same time, which is cool. But yeah, I've been playing pretty much all I ever play RPGs.
Well, I've been trying to play more Ni no Kuni, which I kind of feel like bridges the gap between people who are a fan of the Studio Ghibli movies, or Ghibli, or however you want to pronounce it,
Yeah.
and video game players. And my girlfriend, who's a huge fan of the movies by that studio, was watching it, and it's like, dude, it's like playing a Studio Ghibli film, and it's so cool. I'm so into it, man. And the voice acting's incredible.
Oh, gosh.
It's amazing, man. I just sitting there, I'm like, this is what video games have come to. I'm watching an animated movie and playing it, basically, and it's incredible.
Very cinematic, and the game is. I love that game. I'm almost done with it. It's so fun, and like the music. The biggest thing I love about that game is the music.
Dude,
they got Joe Hayashi back to do like all the music, and the music is just orchestral, and like you can tell it's not just like them doing like not like a MIDI file, but like actually using like a program to replicate French horns or strings, but they actually record it. And
it was the Tokyo. Wasn't it the Tokyo Orchestra that actually did all the music for the game?
I believe so. Yeah.
I'm almost positive, maybe the Tokyo, but it was one of the famous orchestras in Japan. I'm almost positive it is the Tokyo Orchestra who did the music for the game, and you can hear it, like you were saying. It is full blown. You're like, wow, this is incredible work. And the thing that caught my eye the most is the villain. The villain's awesome in that game, the White Witch.
Oh yeah, man.
She's so cool, and I love watching strong female characters, whether they be villains or heroes, in any game. It's very unique, and Studio Ghibli always does that. There's always a strong female character in each of their movies. I mean, name me one that doesn't have one. And in this version, or in this game that they've done, whether or not the writing, was by them, the White Witch, and she is badass.
It's hot.
Her character design is incredible. Her voice, her dialogue, everything is just, you're just like, damn, she's gonna fuck shit up.
Because like you're thinking, oh, this is like a children's game. It's very childlike. But then when she comes into play, you're like, oh, damn, this game is getting kind of heavy.
Yeah, it's got dark. Like when they had the British parrot or whatever, and I'm just like, whoa, you're gonna kill them already? Whoa, this is like 10 minutes into the game right now.
Damn.
I would suggest playing that highly or picking it up. I picked it up for $20 on Best Buy. They had a deal. I don't know if that's still going on, but I know it's cheap right now.
Yeah, like just definitely follow like Money Saver on Kotaku, or even go to the the video game deals on Reddit. Like they always post new game deals, which is very cool.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth looking into. Absolutely. I mean, that's as far as it was the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra.
Oh yeah,
it was. That's what I've been playing. I think that'll be it for us this week. Craig, Craig and I might play something tonight. Look into that. If we do, we'll update our Facebook, and we'll go live if we do that. Decide to do that later. We might go old school, might go vintage games, or might go. Maybe Craig will just tell me what to do in Spelunky, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Other than that, that was Two-Player Co-op. That was our first episode. We'll be doing this weekly, Wednesdays and nights, hopefully around 8 p.m. each night. Tune in then. You can find us at saltpop.net, facebook.com/saltpop. Obviously, Twitch TV/saltpop as well. Those are our main. You can see our archived videos, which are going to be on YouTube at saltpop.com/saltpopofficial, which you can see in the sidebar there on the stream right now. We'll archive all our videos there, so you can watch all our episodes every week. We will be doing this once a week, and we'll also be streaming throughout the week. It won't be just, this is our cast, this is our big cast, if you will. We'll be streaming either Craig or I, or both of us, during the week, especially on weekends. We're going to try to mix it up. And we'll be here on twitch.tv/saltpop. So, until then, guys, that's Craig, and I'm Trent. We'll see you next week.
See ya.